You're listening to the 5-Minute Friday podcast episode of The Aligned Self. This is your host, Daniel Danovi. Okay, 5-Minute Friday, a short and concise podcast episode of The Aligned Self designed to leave you with a question, an idea, a strategy, a tip, a hack, in order to give you greater access to your conscious awareness, evolving your conscious awareness, or give you greater mastery over your mind. Hello, friend, and welcome into this 5-Minute Friday. Today, I want to take the opportunity to remind you of something that is critical to your health, critical to your thinking, critical to your peak performance as a human being, and that is to drink enough water. Water is the peak performance drink. It's not Gatorade, it's not juice, it's not Powerade, it's not any of that other stuff, just plain old H2O. Now, before you turn this off thinking you've heard this before, you know the importance of water, do you have any of these symptoms? Do you experience thirst more often than not? Do you go to the bathroom, go pee enough times? You have to go more than 4 times a day. And then when you do go, what is the color of your urine? And I know this isn't the sexiest thing to talk about, but if it is anything darker than a light straw color, a light blonde color, light yellow, then you are not drinking enough water. The darker the color shows a higher than normal concentration of waste products. Your body is working overtime. Now, your body is really dependent upon water to work efficiently, to work effectively, to work at its optimum level. Now, it is true that the longer you go without the appropriate amount of water, your body starts to learn, adapt, to operate on less than the desired amount of water. Now, that is not a good thing. It just means that you're not going to die, but in that process, you increase the aging of your cells. You increase the aging of your body because your acidity in your body goes up. Your body has a harder time buffering your blood. And as a consequence, you'll tend to rob your bones from calcium in order to have the appropriate amount of serum calcium in your blood. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on the internet. So you need to know I'm not diagnosing anything. I'm just asking you to pay attention to some of these symptoms. It may indicate, maybe, that you need to drink more water. So what are some of these symptoms? Beyond feeling thirsty, it is bad breath, dry mouth, dry eyes, a sense of sluggishness, fatigue, confusion. Sometimes there's pressure through the forehead. It almost feels like you're in a mood, like you're moody and the world feels heavy. Other physical symptoms would be congestion or even constipation. Now, speaking of constipation, I suggest if you do not know what is a regular process of elimination, that you look it up. You investigate further. I'm not going to talk about it here, even though it's the most important thing to talk about. It's one of my least favorite important things to talk about. That process of elimination is one of the most critical indicators of your state of health. So it's important to know not only what's going in your body, but how is it coming out. Another physical indicator may be high blood pressure or low blood pressure. And speaking of the heart, you may experience rapid beating of your heart, rapid pulse. Now, what's interesting, if you experience any of these symptoms, how do you know it's from dehydration? Well, drink some water. Drink 24 to 32 ounces of water, ideally all at once or over an hour. And within about 20 minutes of you ingesting that amount of water, that quantity of water, you should feel some alleviation of your symptoms. The good news is that you're at no risk to experiment with this process. And I realize that might be a lot for you if you're not used to drinking much water. I begin each and every day by drinking 32 ounces of water. That's the first thing I drink in the morning just to flush my system. And I have to tell you, until you engage in this practice, you have no idea how much better you will feel throughout the day. And then also I'm aware that some people don't like the taste of water. Well, you may not like the taste of the water that you get out of the tap. I suggest you find a way to get in your body some pure water. You might have to buy a charcoal system or just a pitcher that you put water in, and it filters through the charcoal filter right inside that pitcher. Those are available from Amazon. Now, something that I used to think that was important to have pure water. Now, if I was to give you 100% pure crystalline water, would you want to drink it? You might say yes. I would say no, because you would die. I would die? Yes, if you drank 100% purified water, all the contaminants, 100% of the contaminants were taken out of that water. You drinking it, you would die. You see, your body's in the process of maintaining homeostasis all the time. And introducing 100% pure water, it doesn't have the right amount of minerals in it. And so you'd start to excrete minerals into your bloodstream in order to balance the water, to buffer the water. And as a result, you would rob critical nutrients from your heart and from your other cells. And so you do not want to drink, as a practice, distilled water. You need a certain amount of mineral content in your water. And this also applies to water that has been purified through reverse osmosis, because through this process, the majority of minerals have been removed from the water. And so you're going to start robbing other systems in your body that require the minerals in order to buffer that water coming in so it doesn't contaminate your system. And so if you rely on water from reverse osmosis, you are drinking water, but it's not necessarily supporting your long-term health. So what do you do with reverse osmosis water? You add minerals. And you can get those at the drugstore and buy colloidal minerals and add about 10 drops to your water. I just had to stop and drink some water because my throat was getting thirsty talking about drinking all this water. You may have heard at some point or another that it's just as good to drink coffee, soda, or tea, and that's as good as drinking water. Well, no, it ain't. And you might say, but I heard a doctor say it. It came right from a doctor's mouth. Well, I'll say, I think the doctor's wrong. And there's been a number of studies to corroborate that if that doctor would have at least read those studies. Because basically what you're taking in when you drink coffee, soda, and tea are acidic substances. And your body has to buffer that by taking calcium and magnesium out of other areas of your body and then neutralizing that acidic substance that you just put in your body. Because the body operates at an alkalinity of 7.4. 7 is the median. 7 is at the 0 point. Below 7, and it's acidic. Above 7, and it's alkaline. Speaking of acidity, if you tend to suffer from heartburn more often than not, more than likely you're not drinking enough water. Now, I suggest you drink the water on an empty stomach because when you drink water on top of food, you just simply slow down the digestion process and possibly aggravate a heartburn situation. Now, another thing about drinking water in food is when you drink the water and then 30, 40 minutes later you have to go to the bathroom, the glass of water that you just drank is not the water that you're eliminating. While it's true it may have increased your blood volume, the water that you're eliminating is water that has been excreted from your cells. It's carrying the waste products of your metabolism. If you get the majority of your water from bottled water, buying bottled water, understand that that water is more than likely acidic. And it also probably contains chemical toxins that has leached from the plastic. If you want to learn more about the state of bottled water, the condition of bottled water, look up the documentary Tapped, T-A-P-P-E-D, on YouTube and check it out. So drinking water is one of the most critical and important things that you can do for your health and your well-being. In my intuition course, I suggest people drink an adequate amount of water because you tend to produce more waste products as well as increase the demand on your nervous system. The flow of energy is dependent upon a good electrolyte water balance. And speaking of electrolytes, one of the things that you can do to increase the taste of water or improve the taste of water is to add a pinch of mineral salt or Himalayan salt, because our body is 9% saline. It has a salt base to our blood because that improves conductivity and cellular communication. Now, I've just talked 10 minutes about water, and to be truthful, I could talk another hour about the benefits and uses of water. But with that said, I also realize that I have listeners from around the world, and different populations have different access to clean water. And I have traveled in parts of the world where having access to adequate amounts of clean water, healthy water, was difficult. And with that said, I understand that each person has their own challenges in connecting with and securing the appropriate amount of healthy water. But it doesn't negate the importance of having it in our system. But if you have access to clean water, then I suggest you do this. Practice this for at least a month. First thing in the morning, drink 22 to 32 ounces of water. First thing before you drink your coffee, before you do anything else. And then don't eat anything for 15 to 20 minutes after you drink this water. If you just do this one practice, you're going to experience an increase in well-being, an increase in your emotional capacity and equanimity, your balance of your emotions. Okay, that's it. All right, I'm done. No more talk about water today at this moment, but I'm always a proponent for drinking more water. Until next time, this is your friend and host, Daniel Denovi, urging you to follow your bliss. Live your life from inner signals. Be inner directed as you drink more water and engage in the epic adventure.